What's up? My name is Jono, and today, boys and girls, I'm really looking forward to our topic because it's something that not many people talk about and it really excites me. Something about that didn't quite work, right? We're gonna talk about why that is. Quick note before we go on, today's video builds on the previous 3 videos that we've done, so if you haven't watched those yet, go check them out first. But assuming you're all caught up, we already understand different frequencies, we understand how we can use them. Today, we're gonna be talking about how different frequencies evoke different feelings in a listener. This is something that's natural and instinctive to us as human beings. For example, if I'm happy and excited, then my tone of voice naturally goes higher. On the other hand, if I'm down or I'm upset, then my voice naturally goes lower. I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios, and to make sure you focus only on my tone of voice, I'm going to black out the video. Scenario 1, imagine I'm calling you up with some really happy news. Hey bro, I entered a competition and you won't believe it, I won a free car. Doesn't make sense, right? It just feels wrong. Scenario 2, imagine I'm calling you up with some really sad news. Hey bro, I'm calling to tell you I'm so sad my dog just died. It feels just as weird, right? Because it doesn't follow the natural rules that's instinctive to us as human beings. This applies to music as well. Once we decide the feeling or the emotion that we want our song to convey, we can creatively utilize frequencies to tap into those same feelings in our listener. And that's exactly what I did in the previous video. Hey man, you just created a song in the previous video, man. I didn't see no creative utilization of frequencies. Don't worry, in this video I'm gonna explain how, starting with the vocals. High mids and highs make a song feel light, vibrant, upbeat. On the other hand, low mids and lows make a song feel heavy or big. I'm gonna show you the vocals on a piano so you can see what range it's sitting in, followed by this graph that shows you how low or how high the vocals climb in each section of the song. Remember, I started by asking myself, what's the vibe or the feeling that I want this song to convey? And I decided on an upbeat, vibrant feeling. We're starting with the verse. This is the lowest dynamic section in the song, so it makes sense that the range the verse is sitting in is pretty low. Pro tip! This is a great example of how vocal tone can so greatly influence the feel or the vibe in a song. So because we're dealing with a song that's upbeat, that's vibrant, and the vocal melody sits in a pretty low range, I intentionally changed my vocal tone so that it doesn't have too much low mids and lows. Contrast what you just heard with this. This is the verse. I skipped the intro. Pretty exaggerated so that it's clearer and easier to understand, but it completely changes the vibe of the song, right? You can apply this principle in the opposite scenario as well. If you're singing a song that's somber, that's mellow, but the melody is sitting pretty high up your range, you can change your tone so that it doesn't have too much high mids and highs, because that will fight against the feeling that the song is supposed to portray. As a sound engineer, when I'm dealing with a vocalist that doesn't quite understand this, I actually use my EQ to change their tone. For example, if I'm mixing an upbeat song and the vocalist is singing low in their range with lots of low mids, I will use my EQ to reduce the low mids in their vocals so that the vocals don't pull the vibe of the song down and make the song sound heavy. On the other hand, if I'm mixing a mellow song and the vocalist is singing high up in their range with too much high mids, I'll use my EQ to pull down the high mids so that the vocals don't make the song sound too upbeat or energetic.
And that was your weekly pro tip.
This is our pre-chorus melody. You'll notice it's higher in range compared to our verse melody, and that's good. Remember, we wanted the vibe of the pre-chorus to have a more dreamy, ambient feeling, so I did that with the music, but I also wanted the dynamics of the song to keep climbing in each section, so that's why I've gone higher with the vocal melody. I put in some harmonies, starting with a harmony that's higher than the vocal melody, which is great because this introduces more high mids and highs in the mix, more excitement, and then a lower harmony, which makes the pre-chorus feel bigger and fuller. So here's what our pre-chorus vocals sound like all together. This is just a build-up, gonna take it down before. Next, the chorus. So you'll notice it's climbed in range from the verse, higher to the pre-chorus, and highest in the chorus, because the chorus was the highest point of elevation and excitement and lift that we wanted in the song. So it makes sense that this is the highest point of our vocal range. Typically, this is what most songs do in any genre.
Audio sins.
So what if I choose a key for the song where I could sing the verse and then I climb to the pre-chorus, but the chorus gets like way too high, so I'll just sing it 1 octave lower. That's cool, right? Works for me. No! For some reason, this is a sin that church singers commit all the time. So if you choose a key for the song that requires you to drop one octave in the chorus, the highest point of elevation, this is what it sounds like. And now straight into the pre-chorus we'll go. This is just a build-up, gonna take it down before I take you to the chorus. It doesn't work, right? Because at the point of highest elevation in the song where you want more high mids and highs, the vocals pulls the song down with way too much low mids and lows. So what are the lessons we can take from this? 1. As vocalists, we've got to choose keys that allow us to climb from verse to pre-chorus to chorus, or to convey the feeling or the vibe that the song intends. 2. If you're a church vocalist, we've got to choose keys that allow that feeling to come across to the listener, to the congregation as well. And 3, this is why working on your vocal range is so important. Because it's not just enough to choose keys that work for our vocal range, we've got to choose keys that allow the vocals to portray the feeling that the song intends, whether that's really high or that's really low. So go forth and sin no more. For the feeling of maximum lift and elevation, I recorded the main melody 1 octave higher. So that's a massive jump in range, and that's great. To further increase the high mids in the mix, I recorded a higher harmony, and finally a lower harmony to make the vocals sound big and full, all together. I take it to the chorus. So we've already seen so many applications of how we can use frequencies to convey a feeling to our listener using just vocals. Next week, I'm going to be looking at how I did the same thing with all the individual instruments in the song. So stay tuned for that. I'm John O, and I'll see you guys next week.